fix it. And I didn't have any paper, I didn't have my phone. So I was looking and I got an old,
An
old
old
homework,
sheet.
and I put the homework in a pencil there and they didn't fill it out.
Aw,
There's an extra chair. Not even one answer.
that's funny. Was that the sheet sitting over in, I thought I saw a sheet sitting there.
I don't know why the sign was taken down. At the
Well,
last
we've talked about, he looked at it, yeah, we're turning it on, it's,
Yeah, that's what you, it's a.
Change
Monday
something,
the
and
fifth
I'll let them know.
At
that,
7
so.
o'clock, but she's gonna open it at 6:30 in case anybody needs to talk, talk or.
We figured you guys could move up and sit with us.
Rachel's cool with sitting in the,
With our,
yeah.
Yeah, because those lights are horizon. Did she say it's gonna be on Mondays, or is that?
I think it's
just
that time of year for, sinus
I don't
problems
know.
and all that,
She didn't
Catherine.
say, but it
Last
doesn't
couple days
say-
I've
It would be
woken up and
more
I've
convenient
heard
for me to do it
crackling,
on Monday.
like around this area of my
That's what
wow,
it sounds
no.
like it's gonna be on.
I think things are just
Okay.
running the heaters all the time, it dries, yeah.
I don't know, maybe
for
all,
you?
maybe they all talked it over.
Was this you?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I think that's probably for me.
We had a couple of tubs of stuff for Secret Sister gifts.
Hi
and,
Laura,
Aw,
we'll be,
catch 'em
we'll
when
be
they're
starting
on
in a few
sale, and
minutes.
I really like this.
We donated most of it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know, it is kind of a
Come on.
bright.
No, I
And
love
I
it.
thought-
It's totally something
I
like,
thought, I think that might be something to like.
when I do my coffee mugs, I like bright, like patterns or things like that snowman one, that's one of my favorite ones. 'Cause
I just saw an
And the
article,
book is looking, whatever happened to fried chicken.
Okay, fried chicken.
so I just was reading an article, they said if you wanna make your coffee taste better in the morning, drink out of a green coffee mug.
It's a psychological
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, scientists had done studies on it, and there was something else with.
Green is energizing too.
There was something with brown too. Brown does something also, but no, it was a positive thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
greens.
if I remember that right. Hello, Laura Hopcroft.
Yeah, I didn't get to make the cookies I was gonna make.
Add some beach to it.
Awesome.
Or you could put them right here, honey. I'm kidding, I'm just kidding. No, put them down there by your grandma.
You put them in a
Everybody's like,
put them in a central
Here.
location and just throw them during class.
Yeah, see, they're way too far away down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should put them right here, Addison, right there, you should put them right there.
Addison baked cookies today.
Oh, boy.
She wanted to bring them to share with everybody.
Very nice.
Sure.
why am I not finding these? Oh, that might be why.
Yeah, on Monday, I told your mom, I said, I don't know about doing this lesson, I cannot find my Bible anywhere.
And what'd she tell you?
And she said, you're not getting out of it.
That's funny.
So I finally found it on Monday morning.
You don't need these things?
I was moving things because I knew I was gonna have a lot of stuff on the table, and I didn't want anything to get spilled on my Bible. So I took it and put it down in the chair, but the chair was pushed in. The only way I found it is when I started to come back in the other room, I went, what is that?
Are you
So,
Funny. Well, that's funny. Well, glad you found it. Looks like you're ready. You're all prepared. You got gold stars.
I don't know about if I got them right or not, but I put stuff down on there. And half these names I went, okay, whatever.
There it is.
Oh, names. Wait till next week.
So I got good news from John. His liver enzymes are staying stable now. some of the tumors have shrunk and nothing is growing.
Well,
That
that's
is
great.
crazy.
Yeah, it's great news. Yeah. Thank you for sharing good news with us.
Yes, so we need some. Oh, I don't know what his name is.
That's a good reminder.
Hey Rhonda, I'll call you, I'll call you when I get home. Okay, love you, bye. I thought I shut that thing off.
I guess not.
I did not.
I'd be sitting on it if you were.
It will be now.
Alright. It's supposed to be getting colder.
Next week, like single digits for the low.
No, don't do that.
But at least we're not gonna be, well, I was gonna say below zero, but anyway. Help me out. Who volunteered to do the closing prayer last week? Was that you, Glenn, or was that?
Neither of us actually ever volunteered.
Well, I use the word volunteer loosely, okay?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No, I'll do it.
You'll do it tonight,
I'll
all right.
volunteer.
You'll volunteer. See, you heard it. Glenn volunteered. No, he volunteered tonight. He's,
Yeah, I thought Chuck did it last week, but I'm not positive.
we could go back and watch the instant replay. All right, everybody doing all right? Everybody got their questions answered, all ready to go?
Oh, boy.
All right. So, the conclusion here, we start with the conclusion, right? Genesis 33 and 34. After years of separation, Jacob reconciles with Esau. Tragedy strikes Dinah's assault, strikes as Dinah's assault ignites vengeful fury by Simeon and Levi. So, the Dinah incident is pretty bad, right? Wait for a couple more chapters, a few more chapters, and then there's Tamar. But we'll talk about a little bit about those things. I kind of abbreviated it. For young people, if you got any questions about the Judah and Tamar thing, you can talk to your moms or dads at home about that. Because anyway, just a side note on that. A bunch of years ago, we were studying the life of Joseph at BCBC, and I was like, we're not going to include that chapter just because you have Joseph, and then you have that. I think it's chapter 37 or 38, and then you have back to Joseph. So. Anyway, we were focusing on Joseph, not Judah. But that's a couple of lessons away.
All right.
So, young ladies, if you have the wheel ready to go, we're just going to jump right on into this. Everybody's excited to get to these thought questions, especially toward the end.
You're making those harder and harder.
You're welcome.
No, not welcome.
So Mom and I were talking about this earlier. You know, the thought questions, they're kind of discussion questions. There may or may not be necessarily a right answer, because there could be a variety of answers. It's just for you to put down some thoughts, maybe think a little deeper as to why some of these things are there, and then it's just getting everybody's different perspectives, and then we all share. So you're welcome. All right. Do we have sound effects on the wheel tonight by any chance? No. Okay, well, the great sound effects, and I heard Chuck was the first name called here. So Chuck, you get Genesis 33, verses 8 and 9.
Then Esau said, "What do you mean by all this company, which I met?" And he said, "These are to find favor in the sight of my Lord." But Esau said, "I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself."
All right, so this is this part of this dialogue and this meeting between Jacob and Esau. Everybody got that? The two words in the blanks, company and keep. All right, very good. We're all off to a great start. So let's keep up the good work. If you want to spin the wheel. So I got a really fun gift for Christmas, but I think I would blow out the microphone if I were to actually bring it and use it. I'd have to step far away. Anyway, I'll have to bring it sometime and show it to you. Bring it next week. All right. All right, so Mr. Glenn, we're going to stay with that table. Genesis 33 verses 16 and 17.
So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir, and Jacob journeyed to Succoth, built himself a house and made booths for his livestock. Therefore the name of the place is called Succoth.
All right, excellent. Everybody got that? The two words in these blanks were returned and Jacob in verse 17. All right, very good. We'll go to the next verse. They're spinning the wheel. And what is going on here?
At that table.
Yes.
You're next. Yes, next, and then it goes for the-
Well, those are the terms to define. Those are, all right, Catherine, take it away for us.
Then Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram, and he pitched his tent before the city.
All right, excellent. Tent. So I was kind of jumping ahead of myself there. We still have a couple more fill in the blanks, right? So hopefully you're ready for this, Anita. But tent was the word there. For the blank in Genesis 33, verse 18. All right, so you can spin the wheel. I am really intrigued to see who's going to get this. All right, Addison, you get Genesis 34, verse number 5.
And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his livestock in the field, so Jacob held his peace until they came.
All right, excellent. He held his peace. He didn't hold his guns. He didn't hold his bow and arrow ready. No, he held his peace till they came. Very good. All right, you can spin the wheel. Everybody got that? So far, we're all batting 1,000 to use a baseball analogy. Oh, that's Granny's turn. Genesis 34, verses 18 and 19.
And the words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son. So the young man did not delay to do the thing, because he delighted in Jacob's daughter. He was more honorable than all the household of his father.
All right, excellent, very good. So the two blanks in those two verses, words and the word more. Good job. Everybody got that? All right, very good. We're going to move on to the terms to define. If you want to spin the wheel. Anybody have any problems with any of these words? No. Addison, did you say yes? I thought I heard a yes. Did somebody say yes? Rachel? Okay.
Yes, but only because there was one word that like kept defining itself with that word. But then I found other ways to express
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
same
No,
thing.
same,
That
about
was
the
the
same.
first word.
All right, who gets to define that? Well, so this is what? This is number 2 for Glenn. I feel bad to the volleyball. All right, Glenn, the word lifted.
To look up with one's eyes.
To look up with one's eyes. All right, that's a good way to put it. Anybody got anything different?
Put to take hold and raise up something.
Okay,
I said encouraged.
encouraged, okay,
Support, aid, or raise up, assist.
okay. So there's a variety of ways that this particular word could be defined. I've heard several say the word arise. One of the definitions that I saw said it could be literal or figurative. So you can lift up something figuratively speaking, right? Spiritually, like encourage. Well, that's what Rachel pointed out. So that was I'm glad she shared that. I also saw, did anybody see receive? The word receive in there? That was one of the definitions that it could be receive. And probably depends on the context. Well, definitely depends on the context.
Maybe
That's-
it's like lifted.
Maybe oh, that could be. That very well could be. All right, very good. We're going to move on to the word favor. If you want to spin the wheel.
I think maybe Luann's watching.
Oh, hello, Luann. You know that snow I said we were going to get? Yeah, didn't get it. But we got this, maybe this weekend. Maybe.
Fluorescent a bunch of clapping.
Yeah. All right. Chloe, who got it this time? Oh, that's why I got really quiet over there. It was really, really quiet. She's frantically doing something. I don't know. You're looking at your answer. All right. So the word favor.
Gaining approval, acceptance, or special benefits or blessings.
Okay. That's a good way to put it. Anybody got any grace and acceptance? I did see the word grace used in there a couple times in that definition. Anybody else?
Hold pleasant or precious.
Okay, pleasant or precious, yep. All right, anybody else? Basically the same.
In support of.
Supportive, okay.
Friendly or kind regard.
Okay, all right, yeah, very good. So basically everything that I had included on my definition as well. It did, one definition did say that it was subjective, being kindness or favor, or objective, such as beauty. So that's subjective, that's just an opinion, right? And then objective is something that's definitive. Graciousness, grace, pleasant, precious, excellent, very good. We're going to spin the wheel. There's a little argument breaking out over here in the young people's table. Not sure what this is about, but you guys could spin. You could spin the wheel and then you could continue your argument.
I think she got it again.
Oh, Rachel got it. Okay, so now they're Rachel's really excited to define for us the word booths. Booths.
Mom, it's all you.
Well, guess what do you think a booth is?
When you sit down for dinner and you have a table or a booth. Oh, that's
You got it?
one.
Well, I mean,
Okay. Cottage, pavilion, tent, covert, or tabernacle.
all right, excellent.
Temporary shelter.
So it could be.
Made of branches or trees, impermanent structure.
So literally, it would be a shelter, right? And then it could be various forms of shelter. So it could be a
Right, 'cause
cottage
in this case,
or
it
a
was for
hut.
animals, which
Right.
would not necessarily be a tabernacle.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, so they're not going to make it. They're not going to make necessarily a tabernacle or a cottage. Are you really going to make a cottage for
They just
your
need, like,
animals?
A pavilion, basically,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. So a variety of ways that one could answer that.
I said thicket, and then I can't read my writing. I think rude or temporary shelter.
Okay,
Little Letter Bible.
but you didn't put in there a
Is
rep,
the word rude?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
but you didn't put in there a
And
place.
I saw thicket too, but I'm like, I'm not gonna put that.
But you didn't put down the place that you sit in a restaurant? No.
No,
That was
see,
a joke,
Glenn
Dad.
reminded me of the place in front of the ice cream place, where Superman is.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Phone booth.
The phone booth.
that's right.
He's been in there a while.
He said, I don't even know if they know what a phone booth is.
Yeah, well, Chloe's seen it. Yeah, they've seen
Oh,
the
yeah.
Superman in the phone booth and yeah, the police box. Yeah.
I'm not an idiot.
No.
But I mean,
So a phone booth. Well, a phone booth. Phone booth would be a.
Good for you,
Yeah,
Rachel.
yeah.
Madison Heights.
That's Royal Oak with the Superman. The Royal Oak. So a phone booth. Would you want to live in a phone booth?
No.
So it'd be a temporary shelter, right? To kind of step
But
in.
yeah, you
and-
could
I
look
mean,
in there.
depends,
you would-
because if we're talking about like Doctor Who phone booth,
Well-
I might want to live in that
Yeah,
one.
it's bigger on the inside. But it would be a great shelter if it's pouring down rain.
Yeah, so
Step
it'd
in,
be a
get out of
temporary
the way.
shelter. Yeah. All right, interesting. I did not think that word was going to bring out this much discussion, but that's good. That's great.
Probably because it's a different form today.
Yeah. All right, Chloe's spinning the wheel. All right, Chuck, deceitfully. And you can't, well, hold on one second. You can't see being the act of deceiving. We'll see what you put.
I put treachery, false, or fraud.
Excellent, very good. Anybody got anything different? You agree with that? Is he right?
A way that is dishonest because it involves lies.
Okay.
making people believe something that is not true.
Okay. All right,
To give a false impression by appearance, statement, or influence.
okay. Excellent. All very good. I included in my definition, which I have basically the same thing, right? Fraud, false, something that's a fraud or false. Feigned?
Yeah, I
Did-
have that too.
So,
And
did,
also craft.
well, did you guys look up what feigned means? Because does anybody in here use the word feigned? Or, I mean, it sounds like an older,
Fakes.
Isn't it like fake, like you're fraudulent, you faked it?
it's something that's not genuine. So it would be fake. Kind of falls into that. Yeah, that would be a good way to describe it. All right. Very good. Chloe and Rachel, spin the wheel, please. Hey, Valena, good to have you here with us. It's Chloe again. I don't cheer. Hey.
No,
Anyway.
these I might get a thought question.
Well, Chloe, you get to define for us the word obnoxious. Obnoxious.
I like this one.
Oh, what does the ESV use? Well, why don't you hold off? Because sometimes other translations
Define it.
will maybe define it. So keep it. And then Chloe, come on.
I put uproar or unpleasant.
Uproar or unpleasant. All right. Anybody got anything different? Those would be good ways to put it.
Annoying, offensive, distasteful, being a show-off.
Okay. Okay.
Abomination, to be odious, to be offensive morally.
Okay.
I liked
Offensive
when I
morally.
first looked it up in Blue Letter Bible, it was like to stink, to utterly stink, to smell bad.
I got that. Yeah, I put that down as well. To smell bad.
And actually, when you look it up, and I looked it up based on these verses, right? 'Cause
Same here.
I go to the specific verses in the chapter, and that's what it didn't even have obnoxious when you look up the verse. It
Yeah.
has to make a stink, and then I had to figure out which word.
And I really must have thought it was offensive, because I wrote that down twice.
Well, that was within the context, right? The brothers made a mess of things, right? So that was. I know the New King James Version says, you made me obnoxious to them, but they made a stink.
Made a big stink.
Yeah. So, Addison, what was the word?
It's a stink.
Stink. See, I'm glad.
They stink to the inhabitants.
I'm glad we kind of held off there. All right, good job, everybody. Gold stars for everybody so far. All right, this is where even this section. We're still doing okay, right, with this section. Questions from the text. Yeah. All right, so Chloe, you're gonna spin the wheel. We have any guesses who's going to be called on next? Who is it? Vera. All right, Vera. How many men were with Esau?
400.
400. So quite a gathering coming with him, right?
And if I thought that somebody was mad at me and I saw 401 people coming at me, I might be a little nervous too.
Yeah, a little intimidating. Excellent. So then, based on that, right, that's when Jacob started making that plan to divvy up the family, to protect them. He was going to protect his lineage there, so dividing up the wives with the kids. And all right, Chloe, we can spin the wheel. We'll get to question number 2. All right, so Jacob's expecting the worst. And then question number 2 is talking about Esau and his reaction. Oh, Granny. All right, Granny, you get question 2. What was Esau's reaction when he saw Jacob?
He embraced him and fell on his knees and kissed him and wept.
All right, excellent. Very good. Anybody got anything different?
Then he asked about the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, what's up with
Well, we're all people.
Yeah.
He was happy and surprised by all who were with Jacob, like all the people that were with him.
It was a completely different reaction, wasn't it, than what Jacob was anticipating. And it said he ran to him, like,
Joyous relief.
yeah.
And like all ill feelings were put to the test.
You know, I didn't jot this down in my notes, but it kind of reminds me of the prodigal son, that parable that Jesus said when the dad saw his son return home. You know, the dad ran to him, right? Was happy, thrilled. So the remainder of chapter 33 is, right, really that interaction between Jacob and Esau. And then at the end of the chapter, Jacob arrived in a city, the city named Shechem. That's really important, right? Because that would set up the rest, that would set up the chapter 34 and the events that took place over there. So that brings us up to the back side of the sheet in question number 3. So you guys have the wheel spun yet? They're going to spin the wheel. And I think some of these we might talk a little bit more in detail, well, especially this question. We can get into some more of the particulars when we get down to the thought questions. There's some giggling over there. I'm going to guess it's Rachel. She's looking terrified. Where did Dinah go and who saw her?
To see the daughters of land.
Okay.
Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite.
All right. So very good. So she went out to see or to visit the daughters of the land, right? The daughters of that area. She's trying to be sociable, and the young women who lived in the area, and then she came across Shechem. Something to keep in mind here, Shechem was a prince, and so you have a man named Shechem, and what town were they living in?
So is that why he was named after?
Or the town was named after him. Sometimes that happens with famous people, right? You name things after them. We know Shechem abused and defiled Dinah. Who got mad when they learned about this?
The brothers.
The brothers were furious. Did Shechem's family try to make things right?
He wanted to make an agreement so that they would marry.
Yeah, so it seemed like they were trying to make things right or better or proper. Things didn't really go the way they planned. So it kind of brings us up to the next question. And we'll talk more about this at question 4, the thought question. Because the fourth thought question kind of ties in with that. But did you have a thought, Addison? You guys could be spinning the wheel if you haven't done that.
And then it wasn't to make things right per se, because there was that verse that said like once we get them to marry us, then we're like
Then all of their
joined
stuff is
together.
ours,
So
yeah.
it still felt like a shady deal.
And-
Like they
and-
wanted
Well-
to intermingle, so now they have all.
So we'll talk more because there was that's kind of some of that difficulties but we'll get there. So who gets to answer this next question?
Granny.
Well, didn't you just do the line? All right. Well, question. So question 4: when did Dinah's brothers kill all the males?
On the 3rd day, when they were in pain.
All right, excellent. Anybody got anything different? So,
Healing from their circumcision.
yeah, I was just gonna say, I didn't ask that in the questions. If you were all just reread it, and I was just gonna ask, what were they in pain from? It was an operation, right? That all the males, they made that agreement. Well, the brothers are like, well, how can our sister marry you guys? You're not circumcised. That's not right. You guys get circumcised, then brothers had a different idea, and 3rd day they killed all the males. Tricky plan. All right, Chloe. Brings us up to fact question number 5. All right, Glenn. Boy, I feel like some of the same people keep getting called.
Two of them haven't gotten any
Yeah.
questions
Glenn, what did Simeon and Levi say in defense of their actions? This is right at the very end of the chapter, right?
Should he treat our sister like a harlot?
Yeah, so that was after their dad was like, right, verse 30, you have troubled me by making me obnoxious among the inhabitants of the land. And then he named some of the people, and they defended themselves, right? So, could our sister be treated like a harlot?
The answer's no, but that doesn't give you
That-
the
that
right
was-
to do a wrong too.
Right. So there really wasn't a response to that here. It was just a question. So that's going to bring us up to the thought questions. And this is everybody's
Oh, look,
favorite.
I haven't got a question yet, so maybe you'll get a thought question.
Oh, be careful, she has to drive us back home.
I think she's ignoring you.
I don't have to drive her back home.
Oh. All right. Well, spin the wheel and let's see who the lucky person is that gets to answer this one. Oh, the young lady's breathing a sigh of relief. All right, Catherine. Question 1. How does the unexpected act of forgiveness challenge our assumptions about grudges and reconciliation? Second part of that is, what might have prompted Esau's change of heart?
When I did this, I didn't really understand the first part of the question, so I'll answer that second. What prompted Esau's change of heart? When Esau was successful himself, and a lot of time had passed between, and so time heals all wounds, allegedly. So that's probably part of it.
Okay.
And then Jacob was expecting Esau to be angry with him because he wanted to kill him for stealing his birthright and his blessing. But so Jacob held on to what happened, and he expected Esau to hold on to what happened as well. And when he didn't, that threw him for a loop, basically.
So that would be, sometimes that's our assumptions, right?
Yeah.
And that, humans are humans. I was talking a little bit about that Sunday. He was thinking the same thing. So anybody got anything different, a different perspective?
A lot
Yeah.
of times,
Go ahead.
a lot of times, people think that the other person won't forgive them,
Okay.
and they're waiting for that person to say something, and they don't. So that's sometimes how the grudge just keeps going and going and going and keeps on building up. And I think that he saw Jacob suffering and thought it was enough.
Okay, very good.
I just added to that they seem to have grown and matured a little bit.
Yep. So there's that time factor, and then growing over time, and then they were separated, right? There was a distance between them.
That are alive.
Yeah, that's true too.
When they're
there's,
brothers,
yeah,
so
20 years
there's gotta
have
be
passed.
love still there, because even when you're angry with somebody that you love, you still want to eventually forgive them. So, I mean, that's the thing is like with grudges, some people forgive easier, and as we should all be able to forgive easily. Yes, it definitely takes
That's
time.
not easy.
And it's not always that easy, but for Esau, he's had the time, he has that love connection where he knows he wants to forgive his brother, and, he sees that his brother has been through some things and is coming back humbly, so he's ready.
it does take two individuals, right?
Yeah.
And both parties have to want it. Jacob could have wanted it, and Esau, I don't know, Jacob could have had the wrong reaction. He could have gotten angry that Esau
A lot
was,
of
yeah,
times, people will say something and the person took it the wrong way, and they don't ask the person, hey, did you mean it this way? They just start holding grudge on them, and then you have to go and say, what did I do to make you angry? And, because I had that happen at work. One of the ladies that I worked with, and I called her my sister, she thought that we were laughing at her. But we weren't laughing at her, the lady had told a joke. Well, she couldn't hear the joke because she was further away from us. But because all of us were laughing, she thought we were laughing at her. for 2 days, she didn't talk to me. I was like devastated. I'm like, well, what did I do? So she told me, and I said, oh no, we weren't laughing at you. She told a joke. So after that, we were fine again.
Yeah.
But if I wouldn't have asked her, we could have stayed no friends, you know?
So communication there. Do you think there was some parallels here with this act of forgiveness, parallels with God's grace? I mean,
Definitely.
would anybody have blamed Esau if we were reading it today and Esau was still angry with Jacob? With what Jacob did to him? I mean, I don't think anybody would have blamed Esau for being upset for what Jacob did. Stealing yeah, twice cheated, yeah. So we see some parallels there, spiritual parallels. All right, very good. We're going to get to question number 2. Chloe really wants this one. I just made that up. Not a...
Grandma, I am terribly sorry, but the wheel has spoken.
The wheel has spoken. So Anita, the question is, despite the apparent reconciliation, Jacob chooses to settle apart from Esau. What might be his reasons for this decision?
He was trying to keep the children and the herds and the flocks alive.
Okay. Okay, trying to keep them all alive. Okay. Anybody got
I said he
anything
probably
different?
was odd because Esau was already extremely gracious in forgiving him. He probably didn't want to impose on him, and he knew that they both were going to have a lot of things, so he was trying to give them space, like she said, for everything to be able to survive and thrive.
Okay.
But definitely that you've already been gracious. I don't want to impose.
Okay.
Avoid conflict.
I thought, maybe he still thought at some point Esau would be mad at him, and
So some people take that perspective, like maybe some fear, like there could still be some lingering.
This is a trap.
I mean, they had a great conversation, right? Everything seemed to be okay. But just, yeah, leave on a good note.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people live good apart, but once you put them in the house for a couple of days together, it's like.
Yeah.
So,
I had also added, like Abraham and Lot, I mean, people and livestock together might be a recipe for disaster, and didn't want to smell like fish. Sometimes.
I put 2, this is Jacob's family now.
Real loud.
I said this is Jacob has his own family now, so I don't know if they join together, then is Esau gonna think he's.
Okay, that's kind of what I put on my sheet.
Or, I don't know,
So
this is-
wanting
Jacob
some,
has his own life now,
yeah, so preserving that independence, separate family entities. Esau, do we remember who Esau married?
He married people in the land.
Heathen women.
Yeah, so Canaanite wives.
That's the way I went. Esau married into the people of the land, and Jacob was attempting to keep the people pure.
Yeah.
So they'd gotten together,
So you're going to have different lifestyles, right? Different cultures there. So Jacob would want to maintain that, like Glenn pointed out, some of that purity there. Can't read what I wrote there. And then I put a verse reference. So, well, let me look at what the verse said. 34:4. So the Shechem spoke to his father. No, maybe I'm looking at the wrong question. I think I'm looking at the wrong one. We do know. I'm pretty sure it's in the next chapter. It's stated somewhere. The land wasn't capable. They recognized that the land wasn't capable of supporting all of them. So kind of reminds us of Abraham and Lot. And so you can only have so many animals in a certain amount of space. And these guys they were smart. They understood that, right? And maybe it doesn't specifically say this, but maybe there was some divine guidance there. Maybe God pointed it out. Or maybe he had been told in the past, don't intermingle with these people. And so Jacob's got that teaching instilled in him. Addison, did you have a thought or a question?
What do you think it means that the children are frail? Do you think they're just small?
Then they were
Can't take a big journey like that?
probably
I think it was an
little.
excuse.
Well,
I think it was, we've already gone so far, the that we're tired and weary, you know.
Well, you could have
Don't
small
wanna push
children.
them too hard.
Could have small children that couldn't handle
I
the
think
trip
of
anymore.
somebody, when you say frail, but skinny and sickly.
Probably
Well,
just tired from the
they've
journey.
been journeying, so maybe some of them were worn out and on the frail side.
Well, it says weak. Are you in verse 13, or does it say frail?
Yeah, yeah.
In the New King James, it says weak.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you had flocks and herds that were nursing, like, you know, it would have been a mess to, so then he says, if the men should drive them hard one day, all the flock's gonna die. So, you know, you're not just gonna be driving, like you think, there's times to drive animals, and then there's a time to they need to,
Rest.
rest and. All right, so some various reasons as to why they settled away from one another. Very good. So, I hope nobody got confused on this, but questions 3 through 5 on the sheet. I didn't put any, like chapter references or anything, but 3 through 5 all pertain from chapter 34. Because the last question talks about Jacob being silent, but he wasn't so silent, right, in 33. So I hope everybody kind of picked up on that. You guys could spin the wheel and we'll see who gets to answer question 3. Granny, you know, she's shaking her head. She doesn't like this one. So this is the 4th question she got. What was Shechem like, and how did he compare to the other Hivites?
I'm not sure.
Okay, you're not.
He was an honorable man.
Okay.
And he was a prince.
Okay.
He was honorable?
Well,
That's what it says.
it does say that.
It says that in the well, maybe
Well-
the honorable is that he wanted to take her as a wife.
No, it doesn't say that. It says he was more honorable than all his father's
Okay.
household, which means doesn't necessarily
Well-
mean he was honorable. He was just
Household.
Well,
more honorable.
Yeah, he was more
than them.
honorable.
Cheat everybody out of the livestock and
Yeah.
All right.
the
So,
women.
Because I said he was arrogant and entitled because he defiled her, and so he's deceitful. He defiled her, and then he said, "Get her for me."
okay. So was he attracted to Dinah, first and foremost?
Yes.
Oh yes.
So he would
Was
be.
lusting after her.
So he, and then he wronged her.
Impetuous.
So he was impetuous, impulsive, driven by emotions, passionate,
I put it was used to getting what he wanted.
used to getting what he
I said
wanted.
prince, took what he wanted.
Ah.
Then told his father
I know what
to
I,
get her for me as a wife.
I know what I wrote. Seemed demanding. That was the word. I was like, how did that apply to the last question? Demanding, verse 4, because that's where he said, yeah, get me this young woman as my wife.
It reminded me of, who, it skips my mind right now, the guy that killed the lion. He's like, go get her for me. Samson, yeah.
There for a second, I thought you were talking about
He
like
told his parents. He told
a TV show or something. I was like, yeah, Samson threw me for a loop there for a second. All right, it seemed like he was trying to do the right thing. Okay, and it does say he was more honorable than the others in the family. So he was trying. This is Brian's perspective. I think he was trying to make it right. Doesn't make it right, but he was trying to make it right. But we'll talk more about whether it's a challenge from question number 4.
And he
But go ahead.
stepped up right away to be circumcised. I think he was only thinking of her, but the family, why he was more honorable than them, they were all thinking, how can they win it all? It can all be ours.
And somebody help me out. But didn't I read in here the brothers went to get her? So it sounded like they abducted her, like they
Yeah.
captured her, like it was like a human abduction. Like so that was bad. So a lot of bad things are going on here, right?
That's verse 26.
Of 30,
Dinah out
34.
of Shechem's house
Yeah.
went away.
All right. Yeah. So they captured her, kidnapped,
But he also
abduction.
said, go get her for me, so is that after they took her?
No, but I think that was just to make the deal for marriage.
Yeah.
He was still holding her hostage.
So we see some difficulties going on here, right? I'm trying to segue it into question 4. Chloe, you got the wheels spun.
Well, and question 3,
You should phone a friend.
question 3
Yeah.
though.
So,
Did we answer
so
the
Chuck.
second part?
Well,
How did
Chuck-
he compare with the other Hivites?
Well, I said that he was more honorable than the other family, but Is that, do you have anything different, or?
I didn't have anything, so I just wanted
Okay.
to write something down, so I
I thought they were not like him and they were angry by his actions.
Okay, okay. All right, well, Granny was the lucky one to get question 4. Did you say you don't have anything?
Now,
Well, so question 4,
I will call a friend.
all right, well, question 4 is, what were the difficulties of Israel dwelling with the Canaanites in the land? And we've kind of been maybe loosely talking about it already. So do you legitimately not have anything written? No, okay. All right. So does anybody want to help her? If you got anything, you just shout it out.
I just put, you have made me obnoxious among the people and inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and whatever that is.
Okay.
I am a few in number, they will kill me and my household.
All right. So that's a good summary of it.
So,
Part of it.
said
Godly in the midst of ungodly people.
they said
Okay.
the Canaanites wanted all the Israelites' things to be theirs. They were not on the same page.
Okay. So one of the difficulties is the fact that Jacob's family, which I don't think they would be called Israelites yet, but they would be technically Israelites. Yeah. They were outnumbered by the people in that area. So now these brothers just, it's not international, but they just made like they just created a huge like ruckus, right? That could have started a war between those people and Jacob's people. So you have godly with ungodly, or we could say they're godly, they're polytheistic. So wouldn't you agree that there would be some religious difficulties there and religious beliefs? Power struggles, because you have Jacob coming into the land. God told Jacob this is his land, right? This is going to be the land for his people. So now you have these Hivites and Perizzites and the inhabitants of the land here. They think that's their land. And so now you're going to have that struggle. Do you think there would be some cultural differences?
Yes.
So this is where the whole, Shechem was probably taking a lady the way their culture said that they could do it, but it didn't make it right. So,
well, he's a prince, so
yeah,
I'm sure
and-
a prince is just like, oh, I can have any woman I want. So, at least that's the
Should
way
be
it
honored.
seems.
that's the way royalty is, right? David
Yeah.
is kind of the same way, King David much later on. Anybody got anything different that pretty much sums up what there'd be a lot of difficulties that they would face. And there would be temptations, right? You know, maybe if Jacob's sons wanting to intermarry with the Canaanites, obviously you have this, Dinah wanting to go hang out with the young ladies of the area.
Well, they're gonna cause a huge problem here because there's gonna be all these women that they took captive, women and children, and they killed all the men. So,
And Israel
just
grew. Israel
mixing up a
grew.
recipe for disaster.
They grew a lot from that way, didn't they, in their early days? And you think about books of Joshua and Judges going in and taking over, Joshua taking over cities and acquiring things. All right, we're going to move to question number 5. If you want to spin the wheel, hopefully, if it's Granny again, just pick somebody
Well,
else.
Jody didn't get to answer one yet, so.
Well, your mom hasn't either, has she?
Yeah,
Yeah,
got
she got one. Well,
Yeah, okay.
just out of curiosity, who was picked? Rachel.
Great.
Well, we'll give you a chance, Rachel. Jacob remains largely silent through this chapter, right? 34. What might be his reasons for this?
Strong emotions?
Strong. Okay, so if you have strong emotions, then why might you be quiet through that?
As to not say something you know you'll regret later or make poor decisions that
Okay.
you'll regret later.
Okay,
That's a good answer.
that's a great answer. So,
He's shaking his head. I don't know what to
I,
think.
I said he hadn't had time to seek God in this because he's in the presence of Shechem and his dad, and so he's waiting for the brothers to come, or her brothers to come from the field. He hasn't had time to ask God what he should do, so he doesn't want to make an unwise choice, and he knows he's angry about it, and
Yeah.
then they come, give some type of solution. He probably didn't know because it says they were scheming, but he probably didn't know they were scheming, so he probably trusted that they were telling the truth, that they would welcome this. So he thought, well, maybe that's a good solution, and he probably at some point meant to ask God, but I just said he probably stayed silent because of it.
and maybe he did, just things happened, relatively quickly here. And then that's why at the end of the chapter, he's like, you've troubled me. Like they didn't have a good solution for this problem.
Right.
The brothers are like, kill them all.
I just added that their actions reflect upon their father.
Yeah. So do you think maybe Jacob was in a little bit of shock as to, daughter's abducted. Now these guys all of a sudden are gonna get circumcised. That would be a shock. And then it's the fear, vulnerable, the situation, outnumbered, thinking what to do. Maybe he's thinking what to do, trying to formulate a plan, come up with a plan, a good plan, a better plan than just go out and kill everybody. That's not a good plan. And then waiting on God's guidance. It doesn't say that here, but Jacob was a godly man, right? He was obedient to God, so you would think he'd be.
That's basically what I put. He was trying to let things calm down and trying to let God make things right and show him the way.
Yeah.
Well, and some chapters you have years that happen during that chapter. I mean, this all happened really quickly. I mean, because by day 2 they were all day 2 or day 3.
3 they were still.
This
Well,
was
3 they were
these
suffering
things
with pain, and
so
then they were killed.
there's
It was really
negotiations,
quick.
there's Dinah missing, negotiations, everybody's circumcised, and then they're all killed. I mean, so it's like it all happens really fast.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting, right, that Moses would sometimes tell us a little snippet of something, and then a lot of time would pass, and this was like boom, boom, boom. There's a lot of events going on here.
Well, and like the traveling with all of Jacob's people back to meet Esau. I mean, that journey is just a few verses.
Yeah,
But,
and it took a lot longer. Yeah. All right. Good thoughts. Anybody got anything extra you want to?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, between these two situations, I think my biggest takeaways were that, like Jacob and Esau, they had this trouble between them, and it kind of lingered for a while. And we shouldn't let things linger. I mean, we need to have time because we see with Shechem, there should have been more time to figure out a good solution, and there wasn't enough time. So we should take time, but we shouldn't let things linger too long. And we should always seek reconciliation, and then we should always seek God in whatever it is that's going on. Like, I mean, in both situations, like Jacob sought God, how should I handle going back home? Is this going to be right? And God guided Jacob to go back home, whereas in the case with Shechem, they didn't seek God, and it ended up to a bad situation, made a bad situation worse.
Jacob had some wild kids. Yeah. And we'll see more of their actions a little later. Very good. Anybody else? So the next couple of chapters, we have, Jacob going back to Bethel. There's another interjection about family idols in there. Rachel dies. Chapter 36, I'm going to warn you, if you don't like names, do your best. And that's why we don't read the
So when I get the
chapter.
question, I can say, and whatever his name is, blah, 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 and he did this.
I don't remember if I asked any specific questions about names. I don't think I did that. I try to be nice. Try. It's hard sometimes, just kidding.
And blah, blah, blah went on the camel and rode to the store and bought some milk, and then blah, blah, blah went home.
Yeah, that's not it.
But, yeah.
You're making that up.
They had their animals. They didn't need to go to a store to buy milk.
They want me to make up stories.
All right, very good. Glenn, I think everybody can replay this and watch it. At the beginning, Glenn said he'd volunteer to do the prayer tonight, so.
Our great and kind Heavenly Father, thank you so very much for the blessings of this day. Thank you so very much that we can come here tonight and study your word. Pray that we can take these things to our hearts. We pray, Lord, that you to be with this congregation, help us in our efforts here. We pray that you please be with all the sick of our number, particularly be with Dawn Thornton, Junior Thacker, and be with our brother John Parker, who's unfortunately suffering with cancer. Certainly pray you be with him, be with the doctors that are administering to him as well. Pray that you be with us now, bring us back at the next time. Please forgive us for our sins. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you guys.